right, we're back. DFH Locker Room, splitting up topic by topic. So we get a little bit more focused conversation throughout. I'm not sure when these will be up, so who knows. But the next topic, I have WavePunk with me again. He's
Hello.
a beautiful RLCS caster. He's really tall.
Very.
And then I have to stand on boxes. Like when it's with Axel Toss, I got to stand on boxes. With this Wave, I got to stand on boxes. I'm never going to get out of this because WavePunk's the man.
No, the heights are not changing.
That's true, but that's why when we go to LAN, I'm like, can we sit? So then it doesn't look, but no. Then I have to stand on a box. All right, so the next topic I had, I thought this was a pretty interesting weekly tournaments versus monthly tournaments, and why each kind of works, and I sway towards more monthly. I don't know about you, Wave, but it seems like lately we've been getting some more monthly tournaments, and they're actually getting a lot of hype behind them with a ton of views. We had Take the Shot moving from a weekly format to a monthly format, and we also had the new Astro Gaming, I can't remember what it was called, but their tournament, Astroneers or something, I'm not sure what it was called. They now have a monthly tournament that's just on that one day. So what do you think about the differences between weekly versus monthly? What do you like about it?
I enjoy the weekly tournaments, the GFNVs or whatever that happen every week, because it kind of becomes this pseudo season sort of thing where any other sports that we're used to, our level of consumption of esports is really very much set by or kind of defined by sports because it's been around for so much longer. And all of sports is kind of it happens on the weekends or it happens once a week sort of thing. You'll go get to see your team play once a week, depending on the sport. There's not as much of a there's no standard. I mean, I guess for tennis or something that has opens where you have to travel to the next event. That might be more of a month to month sort of thing. But I generally think I prefer for these sorts of tournaments for a Gfinity or an ESL or whatever. I enjoy the fact that it's a weekly thing, that you get to see a weekly test. Though my big issue is something that doesn't happen as much now, but happened a lot early on, where you see one team clean house, and then the next week they don't even qualify for top 16, and then they clean house again, and it's what happened in that 1 week? And it seems inconsistent. It seems like it kind of delegitimizes the scenes when the teams who are good aren't consistently good, So that's kind of my big complaint with it. But I enjoy weekly things, just especially because it's something I can look forward to every week. It's something I can be okay, every Friday over lunch, I'm going to sit and watch the 3v3 or something,
Yeah. See, I think weeklies have a place in the community with even more of the casual scene. But there's a lot of smaller tournaments that do weeklies, like $100 prize pool, and a lot of the pros just don't even bother with them because they're it's not really worth my time. But but at the same time, that's good for the people that want to compete in those because it makes it you actually have a chance. But at the same time, then viewers, there's not as many viewers because there's no G2s or flip sides in it, and so that's a problem. And I think even with the bigger weeklies like Gfinity, it's hard because we just don't know who's going to show up that week because it's not always every single team. So you want to see that flip side versus Northern Gaming matchup, but oh wait, it's only Northern Gaming. Oh, and also Aces aren't in it, Mocket's not in it. So Northern Gaming's probably just going to take this one. And I think sometimes that can create not the greatest viewing for the people trying to watch, but it does help for the people trying to compete. One thing I like about monthlies is they up the prize pool, plus they can hype matchups. If they do it, so with Take the Shot, they take 8 teams, and they hype the matchups all throughout the week, and then they play the entire bracket out. And it's a really long stream, but it's really hype. But they do have qualifiers, and I think qualifiers are a good way to make monthlies kind of the same thing as weeklies, where they could even have weekly qualifiers where you get a ton of points maybe for placing in those top 4 spots. So maybe pros don't have to show up every single week to them. They can show up for maybe just one of them. If they place first, they're probably locked in for the monthly anyway.
Sure.
So it'll keep pros interested because they don't have to be this is such a grind. I have to do this every single week because they're usually open, so they're pretty long tournaments. So that might help there, but at the same time, I think when the prize pool is bigger, it just brings more eyes to it. And also for Take the Shot, that they get a Twitch front page, and they wouldn't get that every single week, but they can get it once a month and stuff like that. So I think that really helps in for viewership angles because we saw 5,000-ish, I think, for the last Take the Shot. I could be wrong there, but it was a lot more viewers than something that we normally see, which I think is really good.
Yeah, I think that the answer is that there needs to be we're already starting to have this where there's a tier system because you like tier systems. There's there's different
love
tournaments happening at different levels, and I think that's we need the weeklies for the people like me who's like, I have a lunch break, I just want to watch some Rocket League, and maybe get to see kind of what's going on, and that should become the new kind of like amateur tier. And if the pros want to play in there and give those people the experience of that, like my question about my thought about that is, do we want that to be an option? Because like, oh, today I was going to play in this amateur tournament and Northern Gaming's also playing. Well, then why should I play? Because I'm not going to win. They're going to win, But also having monthly larger prize pool things to kind of attract the pro teams, like go play in those. Don't spend some time in the amateur tournaments. Let the people enjoy those. And there's also like, we've set this standard right now, because remember, like back in the old days when Gfinities were kind of the pro scene. That was basically all there was. That was where the pro teams were playing. And then there was like RLC Pro League. That was kind of the first time we had like an actual season and a championship with an actual like prize pool of more than $150. And that was kind of the scene. Now we have RLCS, and that's an entirely different level in every way, shape, or form. It's a season that takes breaks, that requires a weekly commitment and weekly practicing because the prize pool is large. And just because that exists, now the Gfinities or whatever little tournaments that are being run by community organizations just don't carry the same weight. So it doesn't bother me as much that like a team that the pro teams aren't showing up as much. I don't expect to see the top tier of play from those teams. Like the fact that Flipside's been struggling in some of the Gfinities of late doesn't bother me, because I know they're not taking it as seriously as they take other things, Like that's kind of normal for the pro teams now to show up, just try and scrim. If they lose, they don't care. They're not trying too hard, Because the tier system's already been put in place. That's not the highest level of play anymore, and that's where the new teams show up to try and get light. And I love that the fact that Gfinity still happened, because it gives us the ability to find and see new players show up who might potentially be picked up. Right now, Gfinity is basically the farm tier for the pros.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in a way we can kind of get there with qualifiers. Like say you did go for a monthly, and then you would have like, all right, so a Flipside might have qualified 7th out of like the top 16 or something that go on to this like monthly final, but then that you're going to get the best flip side because it's $1,000 online or something like that. But the problem is also with qualifiers is like if there's no money on the line, one, viewership will probably hurt because like say like a confusing point system or something, people won't be able to follow as much. But the players, like the amateur players, might actually get more out of it because once in a while they'll see a pro. But if they do decently in every single tournament, like if they want to do all 4 weeks and they finish like barely top 16 or maybe get the top 32 finish here or there, they can sneak in to that hype monthly final and be like, we made the monthly, and that's a big accomplishment compared to like, oh, we placed 8th in the weekly, whatever, and then like next week, we placed 5th. It's a little bit better, but it's not as much hype, but like it gives them a goal of like, hey, we're top 16 now. We made the monthly. We're going to play the best of the best when they're actually trying their hardest. So that could add some value to the players. I just don't know like if the viewers, during the qualifying weeks at least, will show up as much as, say, like a weekly tournament that has that prize pool. And then, of course, there are options of like, well, you can add money to qualifiers, but then like that'll take away from the monthly prize pool. So that doesn't really work. Yeah.
And I think it is kind of the fact that there now is a established different tier of a pro scene just automatically means that viewership is going to go down in the other scenes because people don't expect it. I know I don't expect to see the same level of play in a Gfinity that I used to because of the existence of things like RLCS. And so I will still watch it just because I want to kind of consume what's going on. I don't think I've ever actually watched a prize. I personally have never watched a tournament because of the prize pool. I've never been like, oh, there's $100,000 in line. Okay, I got to see who wins that, But I think it is more, it's the prize pool attracts the teams that attract the people, So I definitely see what you're saying there. I think the system of smaller weekly events that build to a larger prize pool could be cool because again, it'll give the teams the incentive to play in them and will, because the money's not important. What's important is that the teams play, but they will be incentivized to play in the weeklies so that they can get into the monthly. I think it's a good system. I don't know who would run that, but I think it would be a good idea for sure.
Yeah, because like Take the Shot kind of does that. They have 1 day of qualifiers, and then they just go like, all right, whoever finishes top 8, they do have some buys now, so top 4 have buys. So now it's only 4 teams make it in, and then they go on to their monthly. But it's like if they branch it out to like 3 weeks where it's like you have a point system, which is something that I always argued for the RLCS, because instead of making like qualifiers just like, all right, they have to compete on this 1 day and be their best, maybe give them 3 weekends. Of course, that's really hard to do when there's like
Yeah.
10,000 teams signing up every
Yeah.
single week or something. So that doesn't really work. But like I'm always more into consistency, and then you go into that 1 day monthly final or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I think both work. And lately, like I've seen with all tournaments that we've been seeing like an increase in viewers on like weeklies and the monthlies. Just everything has been going up. Like RLC, they've been getting a lot more viewers per tournament because I think people are took a small break, I think, for December and maybe part of January, but it's been really building. Once we had those big monthly tournaments, I think a lot more people have come in to figure out like what teams are there anymore because no one knows what teams there are. So I think that's helping a little bit. It does hurt a little bit because players or viewers just don't know. Like, where's Rizzo? I'm watching Take 3, but there's no Rizzo, and like they have no idea or something like that.
Yeah,
so it does hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I want to see them play around more with this monthly into qualifier type things. I'm not sure, like, say the pros like it or not. I don't know. We'll have to get some input from them and from you guys too in the comments. Like, what would you rather see? Monthly with qualifiers, more weeklies, or just straight up monthlies where like there is no qualifier, like it's an invite only, or maybe just 1 weekend of qualifiers? Let us know in the comments. Thank you, Wave. Another topic down. And thanks for watching, guys.